Hello MDP, that's me, and welcome to another tutorial. In this tutorial, we're going to go over something that I get a lot of requests for, or at least I used to before I closed requests, and that is top-only dresses. Now, Dee Dee probably gets more top-only requests than anybody that I know, and that's partially my bad because I don't do top-onlys, and she gets all my dresses for top-only requests, and, you know, it's a personal preference, and I just prefer my dresses to be in outfits and formal wear than I don't want them to be in the separates with everything else. But unless it's like a long sweater or the Mrs. Claus outfit, something like that, that's something that I'll usually make both versions of or just one version of. But yes. So you are shopping for CC, and you are like, I really like that dress. Really nice. Don't like the heels. I could go over here and learn how to shoe swap, but you know, I really don't want just one shoe or two shoes. The shoes that already have it. Kind of want boots or platforms or sneakers. You never know. You never know. Made for storytelling, I need to like 4 different shoe swaps for just, you know, one scene of girl trying on dress. What do? Well, I could go over here and hit request. Nope, no request at this time. Well, then I could go to GOS or I could hit up DD. Or, and just to further my learning, I could learn how to make top-only dresses. Solve the issue, and then never again have to request top-only dresses because I can do it. So let's do it. So you download the dress. I already have it downloaded because I own it. I made it. So, make yourself a folder. Always have yourself a folder. I usually keep mine on desktop because it makes it easier navigation. I don't have to navigate in a folder to find a folder. So it's just on desktop. I just click on desktop and then boom, that folder. And then when I'm done with that folder, I put it to my organization that you can see all over the place. So I take it. I'm going to take the mesh and I'm going to take a color. I'm not going to do all the colors. I'm just going to do one just to show the steps of the tutorial. And voila, we have the mesh and the recolor. That's all we need. Before we go into Milkshape and SimPE and all that nice stuff, we're going to load Bodyshop. And the reason why we're going to load Bodyshop is because we're going to need stuff in Bodyshop to help us with our creating. And what we're going to do is that we're going to go find ourselves a lovely bottom. And you're like, wait a minute, we're making a top. Why do we need a bottom? Well, I tell you what, when you do the adjustments for the top, you got to make sure it goes over all the bottoms. Best way to do that is to find yourself a dandy Maxis mesh. And you could do a nude top, or a nude bottom rather. And there's many different, you know, custom bottoms you can do. I have a lot already extracted, but we're going to go ahead and do a Maxis bottom here. We're going to do some pants. And I did a little bit, one that has a little bit off the hip area. Just because different bottoms have different widths on them. So, just going to do one that has a little bit off the nude bottom. And I'm just going to name it something. Doesn't have to be anything. Just got to remember what it's called. We're going to export it. I'm going to import it back in because I'm going to need it. So, I already have the nude top exported, so I'm not going to go through that. But just so we know. While I'm in here, I'm going to go ahead and export this shirt because we're going to need a mesh to put our mesh onto. So, or clone or whatever. However you want to call it. We need one to go into one. So I'm going to call this, I already have a AF top, so I'm going to call it number 2. So I'm just going to remember it's called number 2. Go ahead and do that. That way, I already got it extracted. So when I go in the process of having to put it in SimPE and all that, I already got it. It's already good. So I'm going to exit. I'm going to open up SimPE. I already got these preloaded, so if it's your first time loading SimPE, it may not look exactly like mine looks right now. Always hit the little create new package here, and we are going to extract. Let me do some navigation. Our pants. I'm gonna go ahead and extract them while we're here. Just go through the motions. If you want to do slow down to see what I'm doing, usually I call them out, but I didn't this time. What did I name it? Top only dresses. So you can rename these, so you can know that this is AF pants. That way, when you have multiple of those in the folder, that you know what they are. Alright, so we're not going to save any changes there, create a new package, and then we're going to open up our cocktail mesh that we saved in our folder in the beginning. And we're going to do the same process to extract it. And this is the dress. Done there. Let's go ahead and open up the texture while we're here. And this is a bump map. We don't need that. We're going to do our base texture. And here is our dress. The other one here is the shoes. We don't want the shoes. We just want the dress. So we're just going to export. Ta-da! And it is exported. And exit and create new package. So in our top only folder here, we have the mesh and the texture packages. We have the dress and the pants. It always does too. It's fine. And then we have the texture. And we're going to open up milkshake. My milkshake takes a ton of time to load for some reason, so I have it preloaded. And we're going to go ahead and import our dress. We're going to say yes to the blend groups. I'm going to take a look at our dress. First thing, when you go into any kind of mesh, you want to know all the different groups here. So we have a body. Let me go ahead and turn the morphs off. That way we can see things a little bit better. I usually try to keep, when I make a mesh, I usually try to keep the, like for instance, since this is a dress, we have a top area of Sims 2 skin that is just the neck and the arm area and the chest area. So I usually always keep it separate from the legs if the outfit has legs. That way, in this case, when we do shoe swapping or we do anything, make top only dresses, anytime mesh editing, I could just delete that if I want to very quickly, just like that. And of course, we have the dress. So I am going to say, look at this. We have these shoes. We don't want the shoes. We just delete them. Boom, they're gone. And look, automatic top only dress. Oh my gosh, no more meshing. No, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. Sorry. Sorry, we're not done. But, you know, it's okay. We'll get through this because it's actually not hard at all. It's very simple to just adjust the frame to fit over another frame. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we are going to load in our pants. And we are going to say yes. We do want to say yes to that as well. And you'll notice she got booty. We're going to unload that and we have a top. Now notice that when you do separates, that the body doesn't line up the same. At least that's my experience. So when I've been doing it, that they don't line up, so you have to always reline them up. But you know, it's not that hard. So what we're gonna do? Well, thank you. We'll do about there. And you're like, oh no, we're already doing it. Yep, we're already doing it. And I'm actually gonna, let's see, go there. I'm gonna do some scaling. A lot of people like to just move the vertices. I prefer to scale them. That way I can decide how far. Because I could take it all back. Like I could take all this back. I'm gonna let you go. Scale it back. 98. That way, instead of moving every vertex. See, we got some width here, so we'll have to do some width. Alright. Just going through the process. It is somewhat tedious at times. Now, the major thing is to keep this booty round, right? It's like the #1 goal. Keep the booty round. It's another reason why I don't like really doing top-only dresses, because it changes so much of the shape of the dress. Again, just a personal preference. Alright. I'll move you back out. Before I start doing width. Ta-da! I'm gonna move out the here as well, just a wee bit. For some bottoms, like cut at the hip, right here in the front here. Ta-da! Not bad. Just simple, easy. Alright. Turn on the wireframe, that way we could see these vertices are the pants and these vertices are the dress. Now we can further look at, so we can see the dress better, we could put the texture over it. Voila. We can see it a little better. I know I'm just casually going through the motions of things. You can always slow it down, pause it when the video when you need to. Be like, oh, what did she do here? Well, she did this. Alright, so now we're gonna do some width. I generally don't do just like this part, because I don't want to ruin the roundness. Well, when you look at it and be like, I need to move this, I need to move that, and I will do it. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hide you, and I'm gonna go from about here. I'm gonna unselect the Z so it no longer does it. I'm gonna see how far. There we go. So when you make a top-only dress, you do sacrifice a little bit of the slimming of the dress for a little bit more of a bulkiness to it. Now you can go back in and like redo these vertices here, make them more slender again, just by going in here, changing the scale a little bit. But when you do that, you gotta make sure that you don't have that. So Control Z to back it up. Also, when you do it, you start to lose a little bit of the shape. You can get some bumpiness. She got some booty, I'll tell you what, in this dress. It looks pretty good though. Like when you zoom out, it still is not as wide as up here. And you want to get familiar of like the pivots in the body, the shape of the body and stuff like that. It helps with it. So I think that looks pretty good. Another thing we can do is see how it will move with the skeleton here. Turn that on, or take the take a joint. Got some clipping. But in a lot of top-only dresses, you're going to have clipping no matter what you do. Oh, we could move this a little bit forward, though. We're about here. Okay. Oh, I don't want to. There we go. So, take it about there. Scale it out a little bit. Little at a time. See how it does. Maybe not that much on that. Let me do it from here, because that's where the dress there is. A little much. Okay. And then we could go back. And let's see. See if it's better. It's a little better. It's a wee bit better. So whenever you are satisfied with that, because I'm not going to go too much of moving that, moving that, and moving that, and moving that. You could also use bonus assignments to kind of adjust it, but I don't know, it's in a pretty good area on the bonus assignments already. Look, the bottom. When you are satisfied, with that, and then you move on to the morphs. Which these pants, they only have up to the fat morph. Didn't think about that, but that's okay. You just, we can adjust it as we go. And then you're done with the fat morph. But we're not done with the dress yet. We still got one more morph. We have the preg morph. And this bottom doesn't have one. So let me bring in the... I already have some bodies extracted. Oh, bodies. So let me bring in the full body female. Just want to see how far out. Okay. So I'm going to combine it with the bottom, the actual bottom, see how it comes out a little bit. That's the actual bottom here. So hide that, don't need that. So that way I could just see the shape of where it would have a natural curve. And see, our actual belly here is already good. We don't have to really worry about it. It's a little bit larger than the top body, but that's fine. As long as it has a really nice curve shape and it looks like a pregnant person. So that's all that matters. Now this part, you notice where the pants end here? This part that's jutting out in the dress, that's just the full body back here. So that's fine, because that's not going to be showing. We're done. Alright. So when you are satisfied completely with all the morphs and the initial body and everything else, you can delete the pants. We're done with them. We don't need them. All your reshaping is done. That's our fat morph. And then there's our actual initial mesh. So when it's all done, in which I did this, continuously without saving, but when you get to a certain point, always save. I just hadn't, because I was just going. No and save. And it's actually, I would do top mesh. I always copy it, Control C, because when I do the renaming of it, it's just easier. Not everybody names it what it's going to be. Most people just call it dress or edit or something like that. The last thing we need to do, we need to go in here and when we need to rename things. We're going to rename you top. Go in the comments section and we're going to rename you top again. We're going to go in here and make yourself a cheat sheet when you do the morphs, because the morphs for the bottom and full body outfits are going to be bought, and then the tops have their own. So make yourself a little notebook with everything in it. That way you can just go over it. Go over it. Go over it. Alright. And dress is still dress, and this is going to be renamed null blend. Which I could just rename the names of the file, but nah. Alright, and then save it again. I'm gonna go ahead and recopy this since I almost forgot to do that. That happens. The number one thing that people forget to do is to rename when they name it here, but they forget to name it here. That's the number one thing missed. The same with morphs. They forget the number, what number it should be, and also that it needs to be top and not bot. Okay. So we are done with that. Milkshape is essentially done. Whatever you feel like you need to adjust now and resave all that stuff. You're like, oh no, we don't have to adjust textures. They should already be the same as they already were. So we don't need to go into the texture coordinator editor or anything like that, because they're already the right size that they should be. They're 1024 by 1024. So we're gonna go into SimPE now. And we are going to go to the extracting stage. We're going to go extract the top that we did originally in Bodyshop at the beginning of this tutorial. We're going to go to Tools, Object Tools, Fix Integrity. I'm just going to copy that in. And I'm going to go ahead and save it. I'm going to go to GMDC. I'm going to hit Replace. I'm going to go to Desktop, find our folder, put it in our mesh. And it says the same, it is the same. I'm going to exit, new, and then I'm going to go all the way back to the Save Sims folder, and then I'm just going to open the top. And here we are going to go to the 3D ID referencing file. It's first time loading Milkshape today, so it's going to go through the process of loading all of the items that they have to load. Have to go through all the expansion and the stuff packs. We're not saying game packs and kits, because since we don't have those things, we didn't need those things. So we're going to go to the body mesh tool, and we're going to go to linking stage, okay, and we're going to click our dress, yes. I did that kind of fast, but make sure it goes to the right place and all that. And now we're going to go down to our textures, which are named top, which is the skin part, and no blend, which is the dress. It already has the top that we exported it from. So we're going to go find our texture. Ding ding. And we're going to just 3, none. We don't have to put on 5. Making 5 makes it a big file. 1 makes it not as good file. So 3, medium. Do the medium. Sharpen none. And build. Build me an army worthy of Mordor. Alright. And it's on. Commit. And save. Now, we don't need this, because this is empty, right? This is when we're going to start in our null textures. While we're here, it's important to do it here and not later, because later you're going to have to redo every single file. So do it here. We don't need this. It is empty, as you can tell. Nothing there. So I'm just going to delete. And then I'm going to go to the material definition. I'm going to click on the top. And you can see it's a bunch of baloney that, I have no idea what any of it means, but it means something. And there is a easy tutorial to follow, and it is by Skell. What the Skell, or Skellington J, as some people remember, way back when. And it's a tutorial here about null textures, explains about them and things like that. She gives you a download to her material definitions, and they are handy. I downloaded them. I keep them on my desktop, and it just makes it easy. That way you can import and export straight from them. I'm not going to go over the fine details about this. Null texture just means that it's a textureless group, like the skin. We're not going to put any texture on it. We don't need to put tattoos on it anymore, because we have tattoo boxes. So, no reason to have the skin, right? So we're going to go back into SimPE, where we already were. Just needed to give Skell the shout out, because they are her tutorials and it is her stuff, and I do give credit where credit is due. We're going to go here to import. I'm going to go to my desktop. I'm going to go where I have it already downloaded, and it's going to be called null. And I'm going to open. And as you can see, it goes through all those mumbo jumbo things, but commit and then save. Voila, we're done here. We can exit and write a new file. And then we're going to load Bodyshop. I don't know how fast it's gonna load. Sometimes it loads fast, sometimes it doesn't. I forgot to delete the sieging cache. Might take a little bit. Anyways, while we're sitting here, Skell has a little bit. She has other, and I'll link these in the description below. But she has other little handy tutorials here. It's loading. I don't know how to repository things. That's another thing to learn. But they're good to look at, to learn from, things like that. That's number 4, and we'll get to that tutorial here in a minute. But just go over it. You know, take it slow if you need to. Me, myself, and I, it took me quite a few tries to figure it out. I'm not gonna lie, I did it in the wrong order. I did the Bodyshop first, and then I messed up so many times, and I was like, why isn't it working? Well, it's not. So, and I tried to do the deleting the lines thing like she suggests here, or, you know, just do it her import way, and it didn't work. So, I don't know. I did something wrong. So, I just import it. But go over these. They're good little tutorials to look at. Of course, they're old, but they're still very useful today. We loaded? Nope, we're not loaded. Well, what else can we talk about? While we're sitting here, wait. I did the bad thing. I clicked off of it, so now I can't click on it. So I have to like hover over it to see how far it's loaded. You could do it. Ah! Huzzah! Alright. Oh, we're going to create parts. We're going to go create new project. We're going to go to create clothing. And we're going to go to tops. Ta-da! Here she is. And before you do anything, try it out. It's not going to fit all of them, right? It's going to fit the ones it fits. We can have no. Really, for me, I'm looking around here. I don't have any, like, custom leggings or anything in, so you get what we get here. All the Maxis meshes. Huh? I don't know. She came out pretty good. I don't do a ton of top-only dresses, so looks alright. Could use some trimming around here, but, you know, you gotta sacrifice for the dress shape or for, you know, slimming. I don't know where I was going with that. The slimming, I guess. Okay. When we're done, we go in. I'm naming it dress. I almost thought I already had one named that. Oops. I didn't have my fingers where they went. And then name it. Import it. All that. And when you get all your colors in, all the colors of the wind in, I don't remember how many I made for this one. I think it was like 10. I don't know. I usually just do, I don't do any patterns or anything. It's always solids. we're going to do this tutorial. And this tutorial is very simple. Actually, first I'm going to go ahead and rename it because, you know, I have to do it in this way. Delete you while I'm here. I'm going to go to my Save Sims folder. So that's where everything in Bodyshop goes, is the Save Sims folder. I named it Dress, right? So I don't need you anymore. I could just rename it's just one file, but I'm just going to show. This is how I rename files because it's just easier. You double click, you right click, you copy. Oops. And then you right click and ta-da. It's renamed. Yay. When you name file, you put your creator name underscore. If you're doing someone else's dress, it's nice to put their name in there. I don't personally, you don't have to, just for the sake of, because a lot of the EA Access names are like extremely long, so you don't necessarily have to put my 3 little MDPs there. I'm okay with you just being like, that's okay. But, you know, I'm okay with that. But, you know, however you want to do it, just don't put any special characters in it. None of those hyphens or and symbols or brackets or number signs or exclamation points or plus signs. None of those, because they do affect game loading. As does the null textures, putting those in, that way we don't have a bunch of nonsense, you know, files in it. That keeps these sizes down, makes loading better. So we go in SimPE, and we're going to hit New, and we're going to go to Scan Folders. And we're going to go to Navigation, to my Save Sims folder, and scan. And we're going to, this unknown is the mesh. It's fine, it's supposed to be like that. Anything that has a picture is a texture. We're going to go over to Operations. We're going to go down. And we're going to mark this for formal. And we're going to hit, we can take it off every day. If you have the one, I think it's Lazy Duchess. I might be wrong, but I think it's Lazy Duchess that made the clothing mod that in which you don't have to have it as every day to get a separate. Now that's a top only or a bottom only. You know, whichever one of these ones. Maybe she's gonna be active in that dress. She's gonna go exercise, do some yoga. We're gonna hit set. And it does go away, but if you go back and rescan the folder and all that nice stuff, it will show that it's formal. That way, it is also for formal, and you know, a lot of people do this for pajamas and undies and stuff like that. So that's just the easiest way to make your categories. Instead of using wardrobe wrangler, instead of going in SimPE and using its crazy hex system or whatever, the different numbers that you gotta put, and they may be right, they may be wrong. I don't know. I rather have something simple that I could just check mark than rather than figure it out, right? So that's the easiest way to do that. And then, you know, I personally, when I do a package, I put it in a folder and then I put it in a RAR file, just so it's easy for, you know, however you organize your downloads folder. It's just for convenience. Me, myself, and I, when I take your download, I take it out of your folder and I put it in one of my folders. And if it's a certain, like, let me go an old game here. Old game. It's old and it's big and it's got all of this. Separates. DD's got a lot of separates. So, I take it out of the folders. Because I only want it one deep. you know, from the downloads. So I just have a lot of folders. I don't have as many as I used to. So that was the tutorial. Hopefully it was helpful to you. Basically all you do is move some vertices out, right? That's basically what you do. Another thing that I didn't show that I meant to show but I didn't show was if, for instance, you know, this is already closed up. What if it wasn't? And then you anything that is looks like this, or if you have back faces on, back faces do not show in the game. So it's black. Oh, it looks filled, but it actually is not. It's invisible underneath there. So another thing you can do is you can double click on your mesh. I would also get rid of anything that you don't need. You can duplicate your mesh and just make sure everything's empty. Put your duplicated mesh here. Select it. Reverse the orders. You notice that it's black. Align the normals, and you can see that it's inside out. And then what I do is I delete everything but here, and then I snap those together. And then smooth. Ta-da! And then you have an inside. That's all you gotta do. I always delete all those unneeded vertices though, because a lot of times in meshes I see vertices that go all the way up here. You don't need them. You only need the ones down here. Now unless you got like a slit that goes up the dress. So one as probably counts as low as possible, right? So that's another way you do it. It pulls the texture from the same that's on the outside. So that's all you gotta do. And then you can combine them if you want at the end. Regroup. No blend. Oops. I accidentally hit delete. No blend. Boop, boop. And go to comment section and delete the extra comments that you don't need. And ta-da! Still top only dress. So if you have any other comments or questions, go over to mdtv.tumblr.com and shoot me up. Or you can just, you know, comment here on YouTube. I'll be checking to make sure that the comments go through. I don't know why. YouTube just... I never get those notifications even though they're turned on. So I just gotta like see it real quick before it disappears. I don't know. So, tutorial out.